Welcome back to Transport Fever. I am future railroad tycoon River, and we have been doing pretty well. We've got up to $30 million, which I'm happy about. It means we can replace some of these old trains like we talked about at the end of the last episode. Just to give you guys an idea, we're doing pretty well with our tools. We do have one issue over there that I'd like to correct maybe first thing, because why not? If you take a look, Tools Rochester is doing pretty well. They're both empty right now, of course, but they certainly have ramped up to the point that they have gotten all of their they've each had like big loads. But if we come here and look, they're on their way back, and there's a chance that they're not going to fill up. And I did some real quick thinking. So we've got a pretty good rate for both of those. I'm not sure how easy this is for everybody to follow on YouTube, especially if you can't see. But, let's, so Tools Rochester is going to take Tools, and that's got a rate of 85. And then Tools Garden Grove is 103. So that's over 180, like 188, right? So let's just call that 190 because that's what we need. So we're kind of running into a problem here where the rate of our wood is only 130 or 329, which, we wouldn't want that to be close to 400, 380 to match what we're delivering in tools already. The problem I have is I don't want to make this train too much longer. It just fits in the station now. Now, it doesn't have to fit in the station to drop off its stuff. And it's really got, more or less its own track other than when the guy from Garden Grove comes in, which isn't that often in a sense. They're not really conflicting there much. So I think we could stick out more. Now, the other thing I'm thinking is this is a frequency of 5 minutes. So I assume if we add another train, it might slow it down, or a car, we'd slow it down. So I'm thinking we want to go, like, the frequency I think would be 20 minutes, right, that they're talking about with the rate would be 20 minutes in real life, regardless of whether you have it set on whatever one of these speeds, it's still 20 minutes for this screen. So that means that if we added one, that would add 48. So I'm thinking we should try to add two, and hopefully we won't have any problems. And let's go do it before he gets up there. All right, so we're going to add two more of these cars. All right, so now let's see what that does to at least his estimated rate over here. 373. So let's see if that even goes up higher, but at least that gets us a little closer, right? We'll be bringing some more wood at that point. And then our lumber, I think, is doing okay. It seems to be 213, but he's not always full. Like right now, this guy's on his way up there, and he only has 72. So hopefully we'll see that be a little bit fuller at that point, and I think that will get us just that extra bit, little more, yeah, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more efficient on that line. And I don't think it's going to cause a problem if he overhangs for a second. He's not really interfering with anyone there. So the real reason we're here was not to upgrade that. The point of this episode is going to be to take a look at what's going on with our oil and get these trains replaced. And so I've taken some time to look, and there's a couple things I'd like to do first before we start buying trains. I came over to here and noticed that we're losing fuel, and I'm thinking that we might be better off. Now, I know there's two things I'd like to do. One, make sure we can store enough for the Des Moines trains, and I think I'd like to put another line in here just for the sake of getting things to flow slightly better. There's not really a problem. They don't really end up conflicting that much, but we got the money. It's not like these things cost us that much to upgrade, though I'm sure the ongoing maintenance cost will be a thing. So what I'd like to do is put in another track just next to this one, and then put in another platform for cargo. Alright, and then I think one way or the other, let's got a train coming in there right now, of course. Alright, so we're going to go to regular tracks, and I'd like to, this guy needs to be able to split off after this one, so let's, yeah, I think it wants to come from like here, right? I'm okay with him slowing down. Maybe we'll put the... Yeah, do we want to make that a little longer? Yeah, you know what? We'll put the little... At least a little longer. Let's get him up to 80. We can come in here at full speed. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll put the short... Like, we have these long Des Moines trains, but I want to talk about, because I don't know that... I think the long trains are causing a different issue. This was the guy there. Now, this is the oil for Norfolk, so kind of good that he's here. I can click on this. Manage line, right? So when he comes back here, I actually want him to go over to this track, which doesn't really make it clear which track is which, right? Now, if we do this, does it... Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we want him to go to 4, I think it is. I need to figure out what all those... Yeah, okay, there you go. Look, it shows you when you hover it. Do you see that moving? Good. Right. So now... That'll just end some of it. You can see he just left, so there's not too much fuel over here. But that should mean that we have a little bit of extra. Now, you notice this is still going down, and I've noticed this before. I didn't necessarily think it would fix the problem. I'm going to make a new rule of thumb. And we were looking at this oil Des Moines, which is the yellow one, right? The one coming in here, yellow. Over here, 16 minutes. It seems like we'd be better off without such a massive train and to have like 2 trains going back when it's 16 minutes. Because I think the reason we're losing is not necessarily because the platform wasn't big enough. It's because we didn't have enough trains. And now with this little bit of an expansion, see, he's getting back. Oh, that's the other one. That's, yeah, see, a lot of these need to be upgraded. So I'm thinking the first thing we actually do is not upgrade a train, but to work on the fuel, the trains, yeah, manage vehicles, right? So, yeah, this will get a little bit tricky. Let's see. Yeah, the first thing I actually want to do is to come in here and not manage the line, but take a look at that line and just see how we're doing with like our charts. See, we're kind of all over the place. So I think that means that we're really not picking up everything that we could, which is kind of obvious because of this, right? Because if it was picking up everything it could, we wouldn't have this station telling us that there's a problem, right? So we have a rate of 98, a frequency of 16 minutes, and yeah, I guess they would be going in and out full. So I don't really want to necessarily change our rate too much, do I? Let's see what Des Moines can hold. We might end up having to upgrade some of these other trains. So this is why I'm starting at this end of the process, if that makes sense. So in other words, oops, no, I want to click on Des Moines itself. Yeah, see, we could actually be sending a fair amount more over to there. So, right, so if we end up upgrading this to be able to take more, which we should, because we're 90 versus 135. So, let's see, what is that? That's like, you know, this is a good episode again to have the calculator. I'm just going to do a percentage this time. 90 divided by, or 135 divided by 90 is 1.5. So we could have 50% more trains or cars on this line than we do now. Now, the other problem we have is how many do we have on here? Not cars, but actual cargo amount. So that means that we could do 1.5 times 126. We can get up to like 189 cars between the two trains. 189 cargo between the two trains. So let's go manage vehicles. Yeah. So now I'm going to buy a new train that's going to get, I want to do like maybe half of that, right? And probably maybe a little less than half, if anything. So half of 189 or 190 is 195. I'm sorry, not 195, 95. So we're going to try to shoot for 2 trains that can haul 95 each time. Even though I just sort of ignored, well, yeah, I think that, let's just see what that does. Maybe I'm just totally wrong in what I just said, but we shall see. All right, let's sell. Oh, I guess I really just need to come over here. I don't really want to duplicate that vehicle. There's no way to... Yeah, I just need to come over here, I think, and... Well, actually, this one might be the better one to buy it at. Des Moines Strain D. Oh, so I could just select here. That's what somebody was telling me a little while ago. All right, so let's just see what this looks like if we add a 10-wheeler. And then... Right, 96. Yep, so buy for $6 million. And I want to set you on oil fuel Des Moines. Des Moines? Des Moines. I don't know how people say it that actually live there. I guess I'd be curious. But you know what? I could have paid attention. We do sort of want them opposite each other, right? Yeah, you know, I could have. Well, no, that's, you know, that's actually going to be probably a pretty good time to start him. By luck. All right, so trade number 9. This is the guy that we'd want to improve. All right, so let's go manage vehicle. All right, we're just going to sell all of these and really kind of just duplicate that other vehicle in replacement. All right, 10-wheeler. Nobody said anything about my 10-wheelers, so I'm assuming that most of you guys think that's a good choice, right? So replace for $6.2 million. Boom, down to $24 million. There we go. So that should, let's see what that does for our calculation looking here. That should increase our rate, I would think. 188. That seems awful high. I'm hoping that's, yeah, not quite that high, but we'll see what happens. We might, now we have the trains, we might take them off. There's something else that I noticed we might be able to do here. Why have these two lines come together for that little bit? It's not improving anybody's efficiency. See what I mean? We could pretty easily, I think, just kind of go around that line. Like I said, we're going to try to... Yeah, see, I think I could come from... Do we do this? Really kind of have to. I really have to come from here, right? Yeah, actually, it might be better to do like this. Yeah, maybe even a little bit further. Of course, that train. There's always going to be a train in the way. Yeah, we want to keep this guy being able to go. Might as well take them up to 120 or close. Why don't we do the full proper track there, right? And this guy should here go a little bit further. We're not even going to need that signal. Come to like right there. I know that's not much further, but let's bulldoze that signal. And then let's make this full speed as well, right? Doesn't have to be that long. Oh, there we go. Cool. And then now, let's bulldoze. Let's turn on our lines real quick. Right, yeah, see, nobody even goes on that line. Now, there might be a train one day that wants to come this way, but I'll show you, for those of you who haven't followed the whole series. Alright, so this can be demolished. Alright, and then that guy should be going, yep, just right around, right? And when he comes back, by the way, he picks up a little bit of crude, or a lot of crude, and it kind of joins this guy heading back this way with the yellow line. Then he comes in his own little train stop here where he drops off whatever crude he had. He picks up some oil, and then he takes that oil over back to the fuel place. Then he comes back into this. So, yeah, this here is a bit of a mess as a general statement, and I think we could do some things to improve it, but to be honest, I really haven't seen too many trains slowing down there. It's not like we're really overusing it, but of course, if we were to ramp things up even more throughout this episode, I would definitely want to take a look at that. You know, this in particular, we might be able to do something. I was thinking, you know, it's only this one yellow line that comes here. Do we just take that yellow line off of here? That would add one less thing that would be on one way. The other thing to look at, it's a lot of colors, but they're sort of going different directions in a sense. But yeah, we'd say the one thing that's kind of makes it look ugly is the yellow line. But like I said, if we sat here for a while, I don't see a huge problem with that. But we'll just have to say, let's you know, see what happens with that. And let's keep going, or else I'm never going to get all this done in one episode. Not that we have to be in that much of a hurry, but there you go. Now, are you doing any better here? Yeah, well, at least we don't have the blue at this point. So hopefully we've just made an improvement. Now, there is a line. I guess we should have left that open. And it's a passenger line. I was looking around, and, you know, you can't always overreact to these red numbers. But this passenger Norfolk is really just actually truly not making us any money. And it's just has to do with the low demand to go from here to there. And it's sort of like it's too long of a trip, I think, to really pay for itself. Like you could say, look, the profits are even like diminishing over time. And I'm not sure if those people aren't traveling this way, right? So in other words, maybe they're going to Des Moines and then coming here. I don't really know. So I'd like to get rid of this passenger Norfolk line altogether. So let's manage the vehicles on it, and you know, whatever the cost. Right, we are going to sell the selected vehicle. Right, and we're going to get rid of, let's turn this to trains for a second. We're going to get rid of passenger Norfolk here. I guess it doesn't really matter if we get rid of it, but why not? It'll be one less confusing thing that's happening there. That red line is our fuel delivery. So all the other lines, whether they're doing great or not, are actually making us money. So like by getting rid of that line, we just save some money. The rest of it, you know, like some of them may be struggling. This Norfolk fuel line, if I'm remembering right, well, no, it's doing pretty well. There was one of them that wasn't necessarily making money hand over fist. Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look at this Norfolk fuel and see how we think we're doing. We're pretty consistent in what we're delivering. And, you know, the question is how are we doing here in Norfolk? Well, we're delivering most of what they want, maybe not all of it. Could we improve this by adding more train or whatever? And the problem is I don't see us really going to 2 trains because we're really not doing that much, but we definitely at least want to get a faster train on there. The question is, do we feel like we should up or lower or raise the amount of fuel? Look, at 64 we have there now. Now, is this guy, who is he? No, he's the fuel oil. So where is this guy in his route? Because it gives you an idea of like what he's picking up at least. So he's all the way down here. Yeah, we might be able to get another. Because again, if you look at the percentages of it, and I'm thinking maybe we just up one bigger train, right? Because though it could do, I mean, another 1.5%. Right, that's a pretty good amount more that we would want on this. Now, if we start getting to that size, now what is the rate? That's something else to keep. 27 minutes. That could be part of our problem right there as to why we're not. So let's go for, I think I definitely feel like I want to raise the rate of this with a train. So let's assume they're going to have the same rate. We'll divide it up like we did before, right? Where I'll say that, I want my mouse move. I'm going to say that 47 divided by 33 is 1.4, and then we're going to say we have, at this point, where's the cars? 11 cars doing, what, 77? So multiply that by 77. Then the new cars, so that would be 109 we'd want to shoot for as far as like the amount we would be carrying at this rate. So that if we bought another train, so that would just be a train with, if we divide that by 12, that would be like a single train with 9 of the bigger cars. What? Yeah, see, are we better off? The big train costs a lot of money, but we certainly would be something to be said to get this down from 27 minutes. So maybe we'll just bite the bullet. If it costs us a little bit extra, then we'll just have to deal with it, right? So let's manage the vehicles, and I'm going to come in here and, oh wait, no, we're buying a new train. So really this time I think this depot would be good. Where are we at? I got lost. Right here. The white really doesn't help me. Or it annoys me more than I think it helps me. Maybe when they were playing it and whatnot, they said, "Oh, you got to have the white." It became obvious. Yeah, so let's buy vehicles. Now let's see. So we're saying like 109, or half of that would be 50 some. Let's just see if this looks kind of silly. And we are talking about oil still, so we'll get an oil tank. Well, what if we went with 60? That doesn't seem like too awful small, but it's certainly not going to be the world's most efficient train that we ever bought. All right, so we're going to buy that. We're going to say set that to oil fuel Norfolk. And then where is the other oil fuel Norfolk train? Hopefully that's not him. Let's come over to here. Where are you at? Okay, you're heading back. I'm not sure if it matters that they're that spread out. I guess over time they'll just build up. All right, so now what I want to do now is modify this train, right? What's going on? There you go. Okay, good. All right, so we're going to get rid of all of this. We're going to put a 10-wheeler on. And 5 cars. All right. Now, by the way, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but a lot of these train cars, one of the big reasons I'm doing this is for speed, right? Because these older trains with their older cars can only go like 50, so that's a big reason for doing all of this. All right, let's keep it moving though. And actually, that is probably one of the trains we want to take a look at next, right? Oil fuel Rochester. Let's manage the vehicles, because this one I don't think is so bad. This one I think we're doing pretty well. We have 2 trains with 14 cars each, and what I'm not really accounting for here too, by the way, is this higher speed. I'm just counting the number of cars, but that line I really wanted to get going. So in other words, as we look at this, I may end up with a higher rate than I expected, which might be good. Might be bad. We have to cut down on the number of cars, but this guy is definitely like a good money maker. Let's look at what we're doing in Rochester. We'll use that as like one of our bigger gauges. Yeah, so Rochester's only getting 66. Again, we could definitely increase the amounts here without too much worry. However, is it because of some other problem? right? Like, are we? And I think this is where you can look at this. You know, we're all over the place, so hopefully we can make sure that they're getting. Oil fuel Rochester, by the way, is from here, so I don't think there should be. The biggest problem we would have here is that we wouldn't have enough, because we're bringing the oil down here, dropping it off, and then sending it back. So in theory, we can just like ramp this one up without too much outside interference. Now the problem is the place we're getting our oil from would have to want to send enough down there, right? So if this station isn't sending enough, see how low that is right now? Now I don't know where the oil fuel Rochester train could have just picked it up, but so like, are we getting enough that wants to be sent to there? This is a different line, not to be confused with the orange one that we're talking about now. So the bottom line after all of that, I think, is that we can upgrade it at least. Yeah, I'm thinking we just kind of upgrade it to what they have now, see what the added speed does, and then we can add some more trains, because we don't have unlimited money here. So if we came back here, manage vehicle, right, why don't we, yeah, this is a little different than I expected with the two, but we're just going to take those off and get them up to somewhere around 98 capacity, maybe a little bit more, because I think we can ramp that up if we were to be able to get more oil sent down there. Well, we can go to 96. And let's try that. Because in some ways it's not a matter of maxing out every city. And let's just see what that does with, like I said, my concern is also the rate. Because the rate will go up. And I am afraid that I'm going to end up with blazing trains. Yeah, that's 12 million of our buckaroos right there. All right. Now we should be pretty good to go. And what I would like to do is take a break for a minute and regather my thoughts, which, as you guys know, I like to do, and just let this run just a little bit. We could build up a few more. We only have money to replace 2 more trains. I think we should do something. We need to do something with the Norfolk crude here. Let's see what other lines we haven't touched yet, right? The logs and lumber, they're all pretty modern. And this oil here. So we probably have, we've already done these are the lines that actually carry the fuel. I'm not going to worry about the passenger trains too much because I'm running out of time in the episode. So we have Valley Crude, right? And these are all new trains. This is really about replacing. So we have Rochester Oil to Fuel, this guy, which is just, you know, probably hardly worth worrying about him going back and forth there, though he is probably quite an old train, 20 years old. So, and that's not really that old, but it is in the sense that this train's only supposed to last 7 years. But if he's polluting people, I guess that doesn't help. But we'll have to see what we do with that. It's just such a little train to begin with, and I'm not sure that he's even that. I mean, he's not unprofitable. He's pretty consistent in what he's doing. So, but we can upgrade him. He's not the big deal. But the Valley Crude, we'll take a look at that when we come back. And we'll take a look at NR Oil to Fuel, which is supplementing the oil that's coming up to this way. All right, so it's taking some extra oil from Norfolk down here because we're, as some people have called it, crossing the supplies, where we've got this web of things coming over here to Des Moines and some things going down to Norfolk. I guess that's considered crossing, you know, when you're trying to supply 2 cities with one thing without a hub, which is kind of what this becomes, our hub in a sense. So we need some extra oil here because they're not getting it all up here from over here, right? They're expecting some of the supply to come from Norfolk area and some of the supply to come from here. And it doesn't seem to start demanding more from here. It's sort of like, I want half from there and half from here for whatever reason. So we'll take a look at whether we should up that and how much we're flowing there. All right, I'll see you guys in a second. Let's close this window here. Here comes our 2 trains. This is our first delivery. This train down here, the yellow one. goes to Des Moines. So that's the first trip he's taken. Look at that. Nice lack of conflict with our oversized station. I've also noticed, I have this open, I think we're about to fix the problem where we were losing, some of the stuff on the cargo platform, which I don't think is a real big deal to us, but, it's kind of a sign you might need to upgrade your supply abilities. So let's see, he should fill all the way up. Well, that's the well. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong. No, he won't fill all the way up, will he? He will. Let's see, how much is he going to take? Well, under 60. So we'll see. Let's see what happens when we get in full swing. And we're about to upgrade or change some things over here. So I did take a few minutes to kind of figure out what was going on. And one of the things that definitely seems to be, let's go back to the line manager. We have Valley Crude, and it's actually one of our biggest, closest to losers. Now, we were making some money, and it seems like the last few quarters we lost some. Not 100% sure why that is, but what I would say is that every time I've looked at these trains, I guess we could do manage vehicles, right? They're not full. So what I'm thinking of is we really don't need 2 trains on there. And I'm thinking we get 1 train that's about as big as what these 2 can hold now, which is 70 each, right? So we're going to replace these 2 trains. We'll replace one of them. Let's pick this one. And then we'll sell the other one off, right? So we're going to come in here. Like I said, they held about 70 before, so we'll get one, maybe what's 12 times 6 is 72. Impressed with that mathing. And this needs to be, again, oil tanker. Alright, so we'll have 1 train that will do that. So then this train we are going to sell. Right, and I think we made ourselves far more efficient, even if it was not the best thing to do in the world. So then the other thing, we were just looking at him a minute ago. Let's train 8 here. Right, we're now look, Valley Oil Well, Des Moines, and then Valley Crude. Yeah, we might have just thrown things off a little bit. And that's the fact that we have our Des Moines trains picking up the oil. So hopefully that doesn't become a particular problem. But what I want to do is take a look at this Rochester oil to fuel. And if we look, he's pretty darn consistent. I think he's pretty close to full like every time. And let's see where he would fit in with this one, right? Let's close this oil well. Right, this one here, so here he is here. So see, he's got 39 waiting and he only holds 28. So I'm thinking we can maybe up him a little bit. I don't think it would hurt. We need to replace him anyway. Right, so let's manage the vehicle and then edit it and then get rid of all his old cars. And this one I'm really not that worried about, other than he's just old. So there's nothing wrong with being a little old, right? And yeah, he was only doing 20. He had 4 cars, 28. Do we just go with 36 for now? 3.5 billion. Now, what I'd like to do is come up here. Well, let's put the trains and then all. So this guy's still old. Are in our oil to fuel, and I think that's the last old slow train we have. So let's take a look at what he's doing. He's got 70 of 70 in our oil to fuel down here. Right, so how's he doing? That's pinned. Yeah, good. So we'll take a look at the line. As far as his finances, yeah, see, when you see it pinned out like this, I think that's a sign that he's sort of maxed out what he can do, right? Like we need more trains on there because he could do more. Like he's never going empty. He's always carrying the same amount. And there's another kind of confirmation of that. By the way, for me, that's like a really big thing as we expand into our next map, is understanding that at a glance is going to be a lot easier, right? So if we come here and look at Norfolk Oil, yeah, see, there's, I don't know which way is he heading. Yeah, see, he's just heading out, and this is at 110, so it wants to ship a lot more fuel on this line. Now, the other thing we could talk about is the rate. Well, the rate is 46, but it's a 19-minute round trip, so we're better off with 2 trains. And in this case, because he's just sort of a supplemental, I don't really care if he makes us money, though he is, and it's good that he is most years. I think I do want to go to another train because I feel like these bigger trains can definitely handle the 70 very easy. So rather than having more trains on the line, let's just ramp him up. And I'm not sure how much we want to ramp him up, but do we take him up to like 96, which would be what, 8 cars? Yeah, so let's just replace him, manage the vehicle, and we'll decide with a wing and a prayer. That's not really true, but right. See what he looks like. Yeah, see, that seems like pretty reasonable. He's going to be faster. Let's keep that in mind, too. And he'll have a 96 capacity versus having a 70 capacity. And for 6.2 million, I think that seems pretty darn reasonable. Let's go back to all of the trains. Yeah, they're all the 8... Well, yep, they're all the 8-wheelers. Except for this guy. Yeah, we haven't even done the passenger ones yet. Let's take a look. Yeah, he's pretty darn consistent. Yeah, let's think about the passengers. And I think the Des Moines one, right? Destinations. So when we're talking about Des Moines to Rochester. I think I closed that train I wanted, right? We still workshop 84. Yeah, you almost have to look at both cities, I think. Make sure they both. Oh yeah, look, there's even. Well, yeah, 86. So I think we could do at least in the 80s, probably a lot more than that, right? And then do we want to have 2 trains? Go back to the line here, right, where we Des Moines, Rochester has already been upgraded. It was passengers Des Moines here. Is that the one we were just looking at? Yeah. That's not a very old train. I don't think I want to upgrade him quite yet. Plus, he's a good one. Where was the one? No, these are all 10-wheelers. I think we're not going to upgrade our passenger lines. Other than maybe like Des Moines, Rochester here, if we manage the vehicle. Let's close some of this stuff. It's getting too confusing for me. Yeah, I think we could definitely use another car on here. Now, are we better off with a more frequent route? That would have been the question to look at here. Well, I think 8 minutes is pretty reasonable. I don't know that we would lose people. This is 9 minutes. Yeah, let's see. He should fill right back. Every time I'm looking, I think what we're going to do for now maybe is just go to each one of these trains and just add another car and then see what happens. Because it just can't hurt to have like sort of max it out a little bit more. Maybe it can hurt, but I think in this case we'll be pretty safe. All right, we're just going to add that. And then we'll come to this one. Oh, this is the one though. No, this one I'm not sure that I would upgrade. This one I'm pretty sure that we can upgrade. Desum, Norfolk. Let's see. I'd like to keep these trains kind of full. So the destinations of Norfolk. Yeah, I don't know. This is passengers Desum Garden. So in other words, there's not. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I looked at this wrong. Actually, 35, yeah, we could probably go up with that one. Right, there's only 2 cars on here. Yeah, you know what? Manage vehicle before you leave the station. Why not? Let's see. Did I catch him? Yeah, look good. He's going right up to 60. Nice. And maybe we'll up 57. That's kind of perfect. That's exactly the kind of thing I wanted to see. Where, yeah, if we could always stay at 57 full on the slower leg. By the way, what I was trying to figure out and look at is when you're here, you need to look at Des Moines. Oh, yeah, we can carry a lot more people back from there. And then when we're in Des Moines, we need to look at Garden. Oh, yeah, we can carry a lot more there, too. Might even just go ahead and put 2 trains on this one. Right? Now, what kind of train are you? Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. Oh, yeah, you're in Atlantic. It should be fine. All right, so let's just take a look, and then pretty much the end of the episode here. So let's see what he gets out of the 100 when he drops off here. Just want to see these pretty full. See, already this guy's not quite full. Now, I'm not sure if that's, you know, I don't think it's that bad. If we could take advantage of like a full train coming back the other way. And as long as this doesn't go down. Yeah, look, this one's going right up to 100. Good. Crowd a train. Have 100 passengers. Woohoo. Yeah, good. Yeah, now what are you doing? Let's see if we... yeah, click on the vehicle is what I should have done. Oh, you know what? I don't think we upgraded him afterwards. So when he comes down here to Des Moines, he should... The people that want... Yeah, there should definitely be enough people that want to come back to Rochester. So I think hopefully we made those, you know, that's making it a fair amount more profitable, right? The same train... We added cars, but we're adding that many more people. So hopefully what we did, let's take a look at the account before we leave. And we can look at the chart. You know, we really weren't, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell looking at this chart, but it does give you an idea of the money. And certainly in the last quarter, we had our most income. So now how much we might have increased our normal expenditures, right? If we were to look at the table... We've spent a fair amount of money upgrading all those trains each time. So we'll have to see. I mean, that's 11 million that we've spent this time alone, 8 million, right? So if we go back to the chart and take 8 million off of this expenditure, it's down to, 19 million, which was, what was this? This is 17. So, I'd expect it maybe to be at about 20 by the time we get done this quarter. And hopefully our profits will be even higher. And we haven't paid a lot of attention since the last, since we started the episode. But yeah, I don't like this. I really would like to maybe try that train splitting thing here. But good. This guy, look, when we first started out, he was not. Well, sometimes they were full, sometimes they weren't. So sort of depending on the exact timing of things. But hopefully we're seeing more tools and fuller tool trains over here. Looks like a train's just pulling out. Yeah, having dropped off lumber. So we'll see. And again, in some ways, yeah. So what is this guy doing? Yeah, 78. That's definitely higher than it was. So what did we get for a rate over here when it comes to our logs? 378. So I can live with that. Right, it's up above what we were before, and what we kind of needed to be is like 92 plus 103 times 2, right? Because that's how we need twice as many logs, so that's going to be 195 times 390 we would want to be at. Yeah, so we probably even want to get more on there at some point. It's getting to be a pretty long train there, isn't it? Okay, guys. Well, I hope you have enjoyed it. Yeah, look at that. It's kind of getting to be a long train. Like, look, he's going to screw everybody up here in a second. Yeah, and that hasn't been too bad. I have been keeping an eye on that when I can, if I'm just fast forwarding to save up some bucks. Now, just so you know, I wouldn't have necessarily sat here saving up those bucks if I was just playing alone, right? I would have gone along as I had the money, but you try to make the episode fluid at that point. There you go, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and know that this will be one of the last episodes. Like, I think I'm ready to start over again. So if you have any ideas for a map or whatever it is, and then just so you know, to catch some comments, I may do like another different video in the next couple of days. Let me see what I decide to do with this in between the episodes. Hey guys, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Bye-bye.